Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today, my guest is a Grammy Award-winning artist. Can you believe that? You're a
Did I? I didn't
yeah.
win a
If
Grammy.
you're on an album that's Grammy Award-winning, then that means you're a.
I guess that's true.
You got to use that.
They didn't send me one
What?
of my own, but I guess I could say.
Holy shit!
I guess I could.
Damn,
say,
we gotta talk to the committee or something.
yeah.
But today, my guest is honestly one of my favorite vocalists in the Seattle area, and it's been taking time to track him down, but I finally got him on the pod. It's my pleasure to introduce XP or Xperience.
Thanks for having me, man.
Of course.
I'm sorry it took so long.
No worries.
Life is hard,
dude. Definitely, dude. You got COVID, right?
Yeah, man. I got it for a little bit. Didn't even realize it. I was actually supposed to go fly to Cabo to do a show with Mac, and then the night before I got my test results, and it was like positive, and I was like, oh damn. So.
Did you feel anything?
Not at that moment. I mean, now that I look back, I guess it was like a little bit of nausea, you know what I'm saying? Like when I woke up at one point, but not really any coughing or anything like that. So it was more of like a little headache and some nausea, and that was about it.
And now you're like a superhuman, right? That's what happens once you get COVID?
Yep. My bones are unbreakable and I'm a magnet.
Wow. A chick magnet, right?
Well, no, but I can stick a spoon on my shoulder.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding.
That's a cool trick.
Yeah.
So tell me about, for people who don't know, this man's highly connected to Macklemore, and I feel like that's always a good place to start for the audience. How did you and Macklemore originally get connected?
We kind of debate about this, but he went to Evergreen College in Olympia. He used to live in Olympia, as I did, and I think we met at. I think he says it was a battle or something, but I think it was like a Brother Ali show.
Oh.
And we both were opening for it, like way back in the day, like 2004 or something. And I think we both were like, "Yo, you're dope," and he was like, "You're dope." And then we just started kicking it, and it was a lot of Paul Masson and blunts and and shrooms.
Dude, shrooms with Macklemore? That sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah, bro. You know, this was before he was sober. You know?
This
was like at Evergreen State College, you're definitely experimenting. And so, we became like real good friends and have been ever since. And
what were you going to school for?
I didn't go to Evergreen. He went to Evergreen. I went to the community college.
Okay.
SPS, CC, and then dropped out as soon as I got the opportunity to go on tour with a group called Atmosphere.
Oh, of course. Who wouldn't drop out for that, right?
Yeah. So I was out. And then the rest is kind of history.
Damn.
Started making music in his apartment behind Pizza Hut. And that was, I think, a couple years later, he put out his first album, The Language of My World. And I did some stuff on there. And the rest is...
So are you probably one of his, like, earliest collaborators?
There's some before me, because he was in a group back in the day called, I think it was called Good Medicine. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But he was in a group called Good Medicine. I wasn't the first collaborator, but
dude, you were in a group too, weren't you?
Yeah. I was in a couple groups.
Okay.
So I was when I first moved to the Northwest, the first group I met was a group called Sand People.
Okay.
Sand People's from Portland, and they consisted of a lot of people. You might have heard. You ever heard of Immaculate? He battle rapper. Yeah. So he was
Gotta
there.
check him out.
Started working some stuff with them, and then met up with the brother of one of the members of that group named Sleep, who was in another group called Old Dominion. And Old Dominion kind of stole me from Sand People. I don't guess I ever was really in Sand People. They never like jumped me in. But
Jumped you in.
yeah. I never got blessed in. But no, Old Dominion. I started working with them, met Smoke.
Did they jump you in there?
Yeah, they jumped me in. They pieced me in.
Okay.
21 shots to the chest. No, I'm just playing. But no, they were just like, no, you should come get down with us, make music. I was like, all right.
And that was a Pacific Northwest hip hop group, Old Dominion?
Yeah. big groups like the Northwest Wu-Tang.
Okay.
We've kind of been compared to. It's like graffiti artists, b-boys, b-girls, rappers, singers, groups, subgroups. Gray Skull is a group from Old Dominion. Candid, Boom Bap Project. You know, so it's a lot of artists all in one big group.
Yeah. Are you guys still a group kind of, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still a group. I mean, everybody's kind of older now.
Got families.
You got
probably.
kids and stuff. So I don't think there's any big Old Dominion shows coming up anytime soon. But I'll keep you posted. I'm singing now.
Yeah, dude. So is singing newer to you?
Kinda.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, I was I was singing since I was a child, but like in church.
Yeah.
But once I realized that I could rap, then I was just like, oh, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
And then kind of I would play around with singing in different songs, but I never really would like open up and do what I knew I could do because I was kind of embarrassed about it. And then recently, the last two albums I did were like my first projects where it was like all singing.
Yeah.
And like I didn't really focus on rapping at all. So, and I actually, was trying to hit notes that I believed I could hit, and stuff like that. So,
were there any like lessons involved with that, or is it all just self-taught?
No, yeah, all self-taught. I mean, my mom was like, in the area, like around Chicago and Gary, Indiana, she was like she was like a popular singer in the church scene.
There we go.
Because she could sing really high. She was a real high soprano singer. So yeah, I also randomly, like I would sit behind the drummer at church and watch him play the drums, and one day I just knew how to play the drums. And so I guess from watching her sing and listening to her sing, I just kind of naturally knew how to sing. And
so you're a visual learner, I guess.
I guess so, or audio as well.
Oh yeah, sure, that's audio.
Because I'm really good at hearing things and then like imitating them or mimicking them.
So can you tell when someone's like out of pitch or anything like that?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's some artists who have no idea. You know what's crazy? I went to a show. I think it's part of the music, so it kind of makes sense. But I went to my friend Fluency's show, and it's like EDM, so the artists are kind of, the vocalists on it kind of have to follow that type of music. So they had this like laptop set up, which had like auto-tune on it to match like the beat and everything.
Right.
And I was like, that was kind of interesting to see like how like the meter would flip so they were in tune with the.
Right. Yeah.
But you probably don't need to do that for when you're performing, right?
No, I don't do that. I mean, I'm also from the era where you kind of got made fun of for doing that. Not really.
Yeah.
Until like T-Pain came along, and then it was just like auto-tune was just crazy, and now it's like the norm. So now auto-tune is more something like some songs call for it. It's like, yo, I really want to do auto-tune on this, you know what I'm saying? And then some songs is just like, nah, I'm just keeping natural.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of artists who are just everything they do is auto-tune. But there are some artists who don't use auto-tune, but they still get their vocals pitched. Like they can have somebody go in and change every single note to the right note. Yeah.
Do you know the background behind like T-Pain? Have you watched This Is Pop on Netflix?
I watched some of it, but I didn't. I don't think I watched the whole background on T-Pain. So Cher, I think everyone knows, was the first person to ever use autotune. Cher.
Yeah, it was. Okay. I think it was that.
Do you believe in love?
Do you believe in
love?
That's
funny. Okay.
And then T-Pain was like trying to figure out how to copy that. So it took him like multiple years, but he'd go through all these like presets until he came across something that said auto-tune. And like he'd like literally just test out every single one, be like, "Can I sound like Cher? Nope, this isn't it. Next. And he came across the auto-tune.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Cher gets like a percentage of every song that has auto-tune.
Damn. So she's the birth of SoundCloud. She birthed SoundCloud rap then at that point, right?
Pretty much. She's the first trapper out here in the bandos.
Damn. So you're originally from Detroit, right?
I grew up in Detroit,
Wow.
Gary, Indiana, and East Chicago.
So you probably grew up like rough and tumble then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Nice way to put it.
Yeah. When I grew up in Gary, Indiana, at the time it was the murder capital of the world for 7 years in a row of the world. And the gang violence was pretty crazy. It still is in Detroit and Gary and East Chicago. So
damn.
Yeah, I got up out of there. I was like, I'm gonna die or go to prison, so I should probably go to where the mountains and lakes and rivers are.
And how old were you when you left Detroit then?
Well, when I left Detroit, I was pretty young, so I was like maybe 8 or 9.
Okay.
But then I would like go back randomly. And then I really grew up in like East Chicago and Gary.
Yeah, Gary's rough as fuck.
Yeah, that's where most of my family still is. And so yeah, that's a lot of stuff happened. I think I could write a whole book on that lights. But so the crazy thing is my dad lives in Olympia.
Okay.
So I was coming back and forth every summer. I would come up here and stay for the summer and then go back to the hood and have all these stories of like mixed women, like Hawaiian mixed with black, and they'd be like, "What? This is this is crazy."
Damn.
But yeah.
So you moved for college, or you moved with family?
No, I just moved to.
Oh, because
my dad lived up here,
Olympia,
but I was living with my mom.
Got it. Why did he move up here? I feel like.
Well, he was military, so he's from Louisiana.
Okay.
And so he came up to like Fort Lewis, which is like down closer to Olympia. And then my grandmother, rest in peace, she actually was running for mayor of Olympia at the time. Ooh. She was like, my grandmother was like the first black woman to have a government seat in the state of Washington. And
wow.
Ended up becoming like ambassador to Japan at one point and like was under the Clinton administration. And so I had ties up here, but my mom moved to the Midwest for some reason. I have no idea. I'm trying to figure it out. But so yeah, I kept coming back and forth until I just decided to stay one year. Due to an OG in the hood being like, man, what are you doing? Like we don't know our father, so you should go and live with yours and not die. And I was like, oh yeah, and that's so I'm here.
That's a cool coming of age story right there, right?
Yeah, it's a little more detail. I'm trying to keep it short, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely had to get it. I love it there, but it's a little too crazy for me.
So did your music didn't start catching on until you moved to the Pacific Northwest, or?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I wasn't really focused on making music when I was there at all. It was some other stuff. But every once in a while we would have ciphers and we would have freestyles, and every time we would, I would get a look like, yo, what? Like, what is this that you're... and I think it was weird for them how I was rapping because I was coming from being up here, for a summer and hearing different artists that I had never heard of, like hieroglyphics and like all types of old school stuff that I didn't know about, like the Far Side and
Dude, I had Dell on the podcast.
You did?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Well, see, like Dell pretty much changed my life.
Really?
Like Souls of Mischief specifically. Yeah. A+, really, like, I was like, we can make music like this. It don't gotta be gangster and all this, and that kind of like changed my whole life. And so when I was going back and like freestyling and like applying things that I had learned from, listening to other stuff, it was just crazy to them. And so I wasn't like popular for making music there because I never wrote a song when I was there. I didn't write songs till I came up here.
And how'd you learn how to write? Just visually also?
I mean, I guess it was just, I guess once you figure out the formula, it was I knew what 16 bars was, and I knew that was the time limit that I had to fill, essentially. And so I kind of just figured it out. Look, my first songs that I ever wrote are not popping. They're not fire. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure somebody will say they are, but I literally had a song where it was me trying to think of the biggest words I could think of and rhyme and like possible, philosophical, anatomical. It wasn't fire. No, it wasn't. But then I created this other song called Greed, and it was like the story of like a drug deal going bad.
Yeah.
And that like tripped people. Like they heard it and they were like, yo, this is like watching a movie. And then I kind of figured out from there how to like make songs. I still was weird for a long time, but I got better.
And then how long into like writing and rapping did you find like producers to start working with?
So I put my first album out in 2006. So I would say I probably was writing in 2003 and kind of just like playing around, and then eventually sold enough weed to put an album out. And at the time I was like making my own beats and everything. I was using Fruity Loops and Reason and it was producing. I can't even listen to the stuff now because it's just so trash to me. But I can't just throw it all away like that. There's some. Yeah. I had some cuts. You know what I'm saying?
Where can people find this?
It's all on Spotify. My first album is on Spotify. It's called Sultry. Every album I've ever done is on Spotify or iTunes, whatever you listen to.
I appreciate that. I feel like some artists like try to hide all that stuff, or they're like, you have to dig deep into SoundCloud under one of my aliases to find that shit.
No, I listen. I hate it because I know I could do better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I appreciate it because it's like it got me to where I am. And
growth is important.
Growth is important.
So, would you consider yourself a producer still? Then, do you produce?
Not necessarily. I would consider myself a co-producer. For example, the last album I did, I worked with a few different producers from like Budo to Theory Has It. On the Piscean album, Theory Has It. It was a producer from Portland. He made a beat, and I loved it. And then I was just like, yo, I'm gonna get this band called Ghost Note. Shout out to Ghost Note. They're like the best band in the world. And they just happened to work with me. And so I had them replay his beat and kind of organize it a little bit. So I've been kind of playing around with like organizing live musicians and instruments over what somebody else has already done, kind of. So I guess that's a form of production, but I haven't been making beats or anything like that.
I've heard you talk about baby making music.
Yeah.
And is that still a relevant thing? Because I feel like nowadays people are making babies to like Juice WRLD and Lil Peep and whatever, right?
Damn, we're making babies to Lil Peep.
I feel like there has to be.
And that's why there's a million Lil Peeps running around. No, shout out Lil Peep. Shout out Lil Peep. No, you're right, man. Like it's a different time, and I like, don't get me wrong, like I love both times. Like right now I think my favorite album, all I'm listening to right now, is Baby Keem, and like his new album is just like the craziest thing I've ever heard right now. But at the same time, I love the periods of time where I was like, you know, listening to the music that my uncles were playing while they're playing spades and dominoes down in the basement, and I wasn't allowed. And that music was coming upstairs, and that was like Al Green and the Isley Brothers. And so that's kind of what I've been drawn towards lately, is like making music that's like nostalgic.
I love that.
That the family can get together and listen to at like barbecues and like, you know, good time, good feel music.
Dude, the Temptations are making a comeback. Did you see that?
I did not see.
Dude, they're actually fucking killing it.
Yeah.
They're working with like newer hip hop artists. Like they're like transitioning to
Temptations are fire.
Yeah.
I think the last album I bought an album from them like back in like 1997.
Wow.
Because they put out an album in like 98 or 97 or something. But so I don't try to mimic what they do. I just try to like pay homage in certain little elements, you know, like especially when I do a song where I'm like singing in all falsetto, that it might remind you of like the Isley Brothers or like Curtis Mayfield or something like that. So it's kind of hard not to.
Dude, Motown is actually like my favorite type of music of all time.
It is, man. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's all about love.
So would you say you still make baby making music?
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely. As a matter of fact, I got a show coming up January 18th at Nate Jackson's Super Funny Comedy Club, and it's date night. And so we got Soul For Real.
That's fucking legendary.
And B2K.
Is it all of B2K?
I don't think so. I don't know if Omarion. I could be wrong. But the picture, it was 3 of them, and I don't really know them like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really follow B2K like that. But I think it was I think there's 4 of them, right?
I remember, Marion's kind of blown up and done his thing.
He's done his thing.
But then there's this one guy, it was probably right before the pandemic. He was on the Breakfast Club. And this guy was like crazy. Like he was like manic. It was the weirdest thing. I have to look up this episode.
Is that the dude? Was he on Love and Hip Hop? Did you watch Love and Hip Hop?
I have not seen.
I forget. But
I need to fucking. I'll pull up the clip or something later.
Oh, we can curse?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was Christian.
Oh, I was Christian.
Oh man. No.
Fuck, but his name was.
I feel like I know what you're talking about because one of them slept with. And we're about to. This is the T portion of the podcast.
Yeah, wait, let me get my phone 1 second.
Yeah. One of them slept with Omarion's baby's mama.
Oh shit!
And he just apologized for it because they were on tour recently.
Oh, the reunion tour or something?
It was like the reunion tour.
Okay.
And he came out on stage. There's like a video of it, and he was like, "Hey, I want to apologize. I fucked April, your baby's mama." And the crowd was like, "Ooh,
Raz B. Isn't Raz B part of?
Which does he look like?
Let me pull this up real quick.
Because I don't really know them, like their names or anything. But
I don't know if this helps at all.
Okay, yeah, I don't know who that. I don't know who that guy is. But there's the other one, one that was on Love and Hip Hop.
I have no idea who's in that.
Hold on, see now I gotta bring up the flyer.
Who the fuck is in B2K?
I don't know. You know what? I thought it was Immature. Remember the group Immature? Immature changed their name. I thought they changed their name to B2K, and I don't know.
That was like the era when like all these like huge hip hop artists were just finding these fucking hip hop groups.
Yep.
Like fucking that was Puff Daddy's thing.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. This is funny.
The boy bands.
All right. So this dude.
And he's like,
"Is that Omarion?"
Holy shit! Is that the wait? Is that the flip thing?
It is.
Whoa! Show that to the camera real quick.
Okay, wait. So,
dude,
got that phone right there. Hot. This is a magician's dream, by the way. You can be like, I have the phone, and now I do not have the phone.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's fire. So yeah, this dude. Oh shit! Hold
on. Omarion.
That guy, right? Okay.
Oh shit.
This guy right here.
Okay, who is that guy?
That's the one guy who's on Love and Hip Hop.
Okay.
But is this Omarion?
Dude, if Omarion's...
Is that Omarion? That's not Omarion.
Let me look up Omarion real quick.
Anyway. I'll be there. January 18th. Be there.
Wait, that might be Omarion. Wait. This is what Omarion looks like?
Yeah, that's what Omarion looks like. And I don't think that's Omarion, but
also it could just be like they could have just chose like a stock photo of B2K. You know what I mean?
That's true. But is there 4 in B2K or is there 3 in B2K?
I think there's 4.
Okay, so Omarion is not in this picture, which means he will probably be there. I'm not gonna say he's not gonna be there because people need to get them tickets.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Dude, Candy Rain though? Candy Rain is my jam.
Come on, man.
My love, do you ever dream?
I used to do this. Yeah, that's so there's gonna be some baby making going on at
the comedy club.
At the comedy club.
Damn. Isn't that so is there gonna be comedy there as well?
Not that night, I don't think. I think maybe if there's a host, they usually got a funny host who might do something in between, but I think date night is more of just like come listen to some music, chill and vibe. And what is your connection with comedy? Do you own a comedy club or something? Yeah, this one. So I'm part owner of this one. Yeah. With Nate Jackson, or I'm confused. Like, break down your connection with like comedy. So yeah, I've known Nate when I first moved up here. I met Nate Jackson at church. We went to the same church.
Was it a black church?
It was a black church that had
Amen.
become a multi-million-dollar church, and they
Whoa.
rebuilt it up, and it's another story. And so I met him there, and then eventually, you know, life goes on. He went off and did his thing, and then next thing I know, he's just blowing up in comedy. And so I followed him for a while, and would be, you know, watch things he would post and stuff like that, and we kind of stayed in touch. And then eventually this opportunity came along. He wanted to do this club, and I knew we had an acquaintance named Joey LaRock, who used to do some other clubs down in Olympia.
Okay.
And I had been telling him that I'm looking for something to invest in, and so it kind of, I was like, Nate, yeah, I know Nate, like, and so it was like, yo, let's do this.
Holy shit!
So, yeah, so
damn.
Now we got a cracking ass club that everybody needs to come to.
And what is it? What's it called again?
Nate Jackson Super Funny Comedy Club. So superfunnycomedyclub.com.
And where's that at?
It's South Tacoma.
Okay.
Hosmer Road. Yeah.
How long's it been around?
We've been open about a year and a half.
Oh, so this is like a newer venture for you.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
But it's been crazy because we opened up like right as quarantine was starting and right as the whole COVID thing was starting. And, you know, we opened up at like 25%, moved to 50%. We're at 100% now. So,
ooh.
But it's been cracking. We just had Lil Duval.
What?
Last week. We had DC Young Fly before that.
Oh, so you're pulling out acts already.
Every weekend we got a big act. Every weekend. Like there's no skipping a weekend where there's not a big act.
Is this gonna be? Is it? I feel like those guys are already like hip hop influenced. Like, is this comedy club more focused on like black culture, or is it whoever? Or?
It's whoever's fire.
Okay.
Before that we had George Lopez.
Okay, that's dope.
Who was, you know what I'm saying, orale. And we've had who am I? Oh yeah, Russell Peters.
Okay.
So that's India right there, you know what I'm saying? Over to Mexico, back to Africa. We do a lot of Africa.
There we go.
But, you know, I think we got Michael Blackson coming soon.
Oh, shit.
Tony Roberts, who's one of my favorite. We've had Tommy Davidson. We've had Mark Curry. We've had so many legends already. It's crazy. And this year is only going to get crazier. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's really fire. And I love comedy, so it's been like a dream for me to be involved in it.
Dude, I'm getting into comedy too. Because I just turned 21, so I've only now been able to start going to like do comedy things.
Do you do comedy?
Not yet. I want to actually eventually try it. I'm going to start doing like live podcast things. Mm-hmm. It's going to be like a mixture of like me hosting, doing a Jimmy Kimmel thing, and a concert all in one. So I want to do like a concert type series in a theater versus like a concert venue. I feel like that would be a cool mix, you know? But,
okay, so you know, at the comedy club, there's the Super Funny podcast, right? And so we have a podcast studio at the comedy club.
Oh,
so
shit.
when comedians come, they do an interview, or podcast people can come when they're on tour. They can do their thing there, right? Also, we do comedy classes on Wednesday nights, and they just had the graduation class show that I went to. It was crazy. And that was really dope. Like, so people who want to come and get tips from Nate, because Nate is a beast. Nate is like one of my favorite comedians.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that because I know him, and like, but he's like up there, like top 10, like for sure.
So he gives back to the culture, though. It seems like that's awesome.
Yes, and so, yeah, I think I'm not sure when that starts up again, when they start, you know, to do the class again, because they just had a graduation. But that was Wednesday nights, and then Tuesday nights is open mic, where anybody can come and get up, and they do the draw. So they put your names in a hat.
Yeah.
And then they have people who are guaranteed to go up, right? Like 10 people, but then in between they got the hustle spots. Yeah. So your name gets pulled up. You might get pulled up, you might not, but they just want you to be ready. It's kind of like that on edge thing. So
holy shit.
So you gotta come do something, man.
Tacoma. I'm starting to come down to. You know what's also crazy? I've met a lot of like older hip hop artists tend to like retire in Tacoma for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
Tacoma's kind of popping right now. It's like coming up.
Yeah.
Like Yeah, so I mean, we opened the club there, but even before that, I was thinking about moving there because like downtown is just kind of cracking. It's like, so it's a little dope. So
Yeah.
kind of don't want to tell nobody. Kind of want to keep it secret a little bit, but yeah.
Dude, my whole goal is trying to connect like all of the PNW, so I feel like I need to get down to Tacoma more often than I do.
Yeah.
I've only had a select artists from Tacoma on so far. You know?
Bro, you gotta come. You gotta come down, check out the comedy club Tuesday night at least.
Yeah. How often are you there?
I'm there too much actually. Like I'll be at all the open mics just sitting and watching because Nate is trying to convince me that I should do it.
Oh.
And so I'm just sitting down there soaking it up, judging motherfuckers, thinking what they're doing wrong and just waiting for my time, waiting for my day. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. But
no, I could see that. You gotta do it.
But,
do you host events? I could see you at least being a host.
Bro, I'll tell you this. I didn't host, but I would. I don't know if hosting might be harder. But we did the comedy competition, right? Okay. And there was this 200 people entered.
Oh, shit.
We chose the best 50, and then there was this competition, and I judged a couple, right? And I'm a big fan of comedy. So I've seen all types of comedy competitions. I've seen roast. And I know usually at comedy competitions, they get comedians to judge. And I'm like, all right, so if I'm judging, this is like my chance to see if I'm funny, right? So I'm going to try to like, as I'm giving notes, I'm going to try to like talk shit about the comedian or like say some funny jokes or something. Yeah. And so it comes time to host and I do my thing and I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to be funny. And I try the first time I talk shit about the comedian or something, and it like the whole room just cracking up. And I was like, ooh, that's how that feels. I felt it like right here. Yeah. It was like the spirit. It was like of comedy. And I was like, ooh, I might can. So now I had a little, confidence. Yeah. So now I'm taking notes and writing more little jokes, talking shit about the comedians. And some of the comedians are like I'm like killing it more than they are, And so after that, Nate was like on stage, like, oh no, XP, you might need to do this. And I'm like, oh no.
Damn.
And so I don't know. I'm not bragging or nothing. I'm not saying that I'm like hella funny.
Well, you got a comedy club and you know how to write. It sounds like.
I mean, you do the math. You do.
So, tell me, how did you get XP or Xperience as your name even?
Oh man. The story of the title.
Story of the title.
I was trying to, because back in the head they used to call me Tigger from like Winnie and the Pooh.
Okay.
And I was like, nah. And I guess I also used to look like Big Tigger from Rap Scene in the Basement. So I guess it was like a play on that. But I was like, no, that can't be my rap name. So me and the homie were trying to figure it out one day. And back then, like in 2002 or whatever the hell this was, AOL was like popping. America Online was popping. And they used to send discs, like CDs in the mail that you can upload a demo.
Yeah.
AOL. And one of them was like, the AOL Experience. And I was like, and I'm on the phone with the homie. I'm like, yo, I could be the experience, like the experience. And he's like, I don't know about the. He was like, I wouldn't put the in it. But he was like, maybe experience, though. And I'm like, all right. So I looked up the definition of it. And I was just like, it was just like destiny. I was like, this is it. And I was like the definition, the act of living through an event, anything or everything observed or lived through, personal participation resulting from this, right? So I was like, yo, it's just life. It's like, it's like living through something and then learning from it. And then that's experience. That's like you're experiencing life.
That's me.
Right. So I was just like, I'm just living. To me, it was very simple.
Yeah.
A lot of people hear it and be like, oh, you're experienced. Like you have the experience. And I'm just like, no, it's more of like an ing. Like I'm experiencing life and learning from it. And so, yeah, that's kind of, I was like, once I read that, I was like, okay.
Wow.
Plus, you hear little sayings like experience is the best teacher. And so I was like, okay, this is perfect.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
So how connected would you say you are to the music scene in Seattle? Do you try to stay tapped in, or do you think earlier on in your career you were more tapped in?
I think I was more tapped in early on. And then I think I was trying to get tapped in. And then I kind of gave up on trying to get tapped in Seattle. And then just kind of focused on who would ever accept, listening to me. And like my music gets way more play like overseas, like France, Australia, Germany, and Texas. Like really, like really fuck with me. And Seattle, I'm like in Seattle, I'm like I'm like your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. It's like they think they the best, but they'll come to me and be like, "Yo, you're like you're hella fire, bro." And like, like I remember there was times where some of these rappers right now, who some would say are popping in Seattle, used to be front row watching me like do my thing like a fan. I ain't saying no names.
Oh.
I ain't saying no names, but but no, you know what I'm saying? So but Seattle scene is very interesting, and it's very cliquey. I don't blame him, you know what I'm saying? I don't blame the scene.
If you were to say you're still part of the scene, where do you think you would fall? Like what part of the music scene would you be in?
I mean, I would hope that I would be accepted in the soul scene. I'm not really, trying to like be a so-called rapper as much as anymore. Like I'm always gonna be an MC. Like I'm working on something right now, you know what I'm saying? But I think I'm more focused on singing and making soul music. And I don't think there's that big of a soul scene in Seattle. Although, like, one of my favorite vocalists is Tiffany Wilson.
Dude, yeah, you have that song "Cats and Dogs" with her.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite songs.
I got that with her, and then there's another one where we do a duet on there. It's called "With You," and
she's from Seattle.
Yeah, she's from Seattle.
I didn't look more into her,
bro. She's the filthiest singer ever, and like, but it's like a lot of people don't know that, but a lot of people do. But it's just it's just a group of people who are looking for soul, like real soul music. Versus, I mean, Seattle just has so many, things. It's like you want EDM, you want like trap, you want some West Coast gangster shit. It's like there's so much shit, and it's kind of spread out. And so I had to figure out where I was and all of that, and then I think it just reached a point where I was like, I don't really care if I fit in anywhere, really. I'm just, as long as I can make music and be happy. I know there's gonna be somebody that likes my music and listens to it. And I don't really care where they live. You know what I'm saying?
Are you open to collaboration still?
Oh yeah,
dude.
Well, see, this is my point. Like I've reached out. Listen, dude, if I had a list
of the NAST community now, you're about to be on a wave. You're just wait,
bro. Like I've reached out to a lot of artists to work. It would trip you out, and then you like never hear back from them until you see him out at like a club or something, then it's all like, oh, hey, we got to do something. And I'm like, yep, I've been trying that for about 4 or 5 years, to the point where it's like, there's way more people like trying to work with me down in Portland or out in like Cali or, New York or something. When it's like for a long time, I was like, yo, but this is where I'm at. Would love to do more. Would love to work, but.
Just tell them you're a Grammy award-winning artist.
Yeah, no, that doesn't matter. I don't even.
I don't even have the Grammy.
I don't even have a Grammy. So
that's something.
But I don't think of myself like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here like, yo, I'm the best. Like I've got Grammys and like I'm not. I'm just like, yo, I really like making music, and like even if nobody ever knew who I was, I would still be making music. Like I think that's what it is. Like I'm not focused on making money. Like it's nice, but.
The fire's still there.
The fire's still there. I'm still hungry.
For that baby making music.
Man, It's a lot of money in baby making.
Yeah, there
Shout out
definitely
Planned
is.
Parenthood. No, just kidding. Horrible jokes.
Do you-
Comedy Club.
Do you have kids?
Nope, no
Oh,
kids.
There you go.
I'm
Wow.
recently booed up though.
Oh,
So I'm about to shoot the club up ASAP. I'm about to shoot it up.
damn.
I hope you watch it, baby, because you about to all babies.
You're gonna be up front row. Damn, the baby making music guy
Yeah.
stayed away from making baby. Dude, that's actually legendary. You know,
Well,
it's just
listen. I'm not out here just dropping babies.
that's good though. It's like what's his name? Just insert any tech mogul. Like they don't want their kids on the technology they've created.
exactly.
So you've created a monster with this baby making music, and it just pop, pop, pop.
I refuse to have a baby to my own music. If
Oh,
that's what you're asking, I refuse.
Oh, I didn't
it.
think about that part. That's actually a good point. Oh,
Because do you know the monster that would be created? The love-making machine that would be produced and conceived on that night? I don't think the world's ready. The Pentagon has told us about UFOs, but they have not told you about XP making a baby to his own music.
the experience of making a baby with experience while listening to
I'm
Experience.
saying it's like Pandora's Box,
Oh my god.
which is the name of my next album.
Ooh. There we go. Isn't that's a sex company too, right?
Exactly. Now
Okay.
you see
there we
what I'm
go.
seeing?
Dude,
what
you're
I'm
all
doing
on these
now.
double entendres.
I have bars. They got bars, bro.
So I've interviewed quite a few artists that have worked with Macklemore,
Mm,
especially during that heist era.
yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people have a similar consensus.
Mm.
Consensus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That even though they worked with them, they didn't feel like there was a push with their music through working with him.
Mm.
How do you think what was the impact of you working with Mackmore? Do you think you should be farther? I don't want anyone to feel like they're just because they worked with a certain artist, they're deserved of something, you know. But I
Right.
feel like
But I think a lot of artists do feel
Yeah.
like that.
for sure. But do you think there should have or would have been a different outcome? Have you working with Macklemore? Do you think you should have had a bigger platform given to you afterwards?
No, because I don't think I should have anything given to me. The thing is, it's like there was a platform given to me, and then it's all about what you do with that. What do you do after your show? Do you like go kick it, or do you go and mingle with hella fans and try to get them to buy your album?
Right.
With me, I know that the people, I learned this early when I first started touring with Ben, is like, I would say maybe 75% of the people that are coming to see Macklemore, number one, they're coming to see Macklemore. They don't care who is going on first or
Yeah.
any of that, unless it's like somebody super popular. But if you're just a no-name opener and you're opening for Macklemore and it's not your home state, like I used to walk through the crowd and hear people literally saying like, I don't care who's going on first, you know, but I'm going on first, and I'm just like, oh God.
Fuck.
And so I realized early that Macklemore's fan base isn't necessarily the demographic that I want for me personally. Like I might get a, you know, out of a show of like 10,000 people, 8,000 people are gonna like me. You know what I'm saying? But 2,000 people are actually gonna do the work to like follow me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
2,000 out of 10,000. Because the other 8,000 really don't even like hip hop. They like Macklemore. You know what I'm saying? So
Would
if-
you say Macklemore's hip hop?
I would, but see, he can do whatever. Like he could do some like country. He could do a country song. He could do some hip hop where it's like, okay, this. And usually when he gets on that tip, people will say, well, this reminds me of like what he used to do. Like, but he can also get on that pop shit because the pop shit is what goes universal. You know what I'm saying? It's like he could spend all day rapping about a street in Seattle that nobody in France has ever heard of. But he's got both. You know what I'm saying? He's got the Seattle, he's got the town cuts. And so he just figured out how to ride, find a balance.
Yeah.
From being pop and then being himself and then being hip hop, which isn't just like making music, it's like a lifestyle. So he is that. But he's also a businessman. He's also a family man. He's also funny as hell. And he's not a gangster. So he can't make gangster music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what else is there but to make music that's him? It's about having good times. It's about love. Or it's about his sobriety, which, you know what I'm saying? It's his life. So with that being said, and me, where I'm making music, mine's a little bit more soulful. I'm turning up sometimes. I'm drinking. I'm smoking. You know what I'm saying? The crowd that comes to see him, a lot of them respect the sobriety about what he's doing. And a lot of the front row is usually people with signs that are like sober for 7 years. You know what I'm saying? It's not a tour where it's like groupies backstage or any of that. His wifey's tour manager, their baby's back there. You know what I'm saying? So as far as like a platform, having Macklemore give you a platform isn't necessarily the best thing for all artists. Like it wouldn't work for everybody. It's like also he can put you in front of the world, like, and this goes for any artist who has homies or people from the town that want to be put on. They can put you in front of the world. If the world don't fuck with you, the world just don't fuck with you. And I think a lot of people don't know how to rate themselves as an artist to see where they fit. Like, how do they find their lane? Everybody thinks they're the greatest of all time. Everybody wants overnight success. And if it doesn't happen the way they dreamed it was going to happen, or the way they wrote it down to happen, or the way their visual board says it's going to happen, then it becomes somebody else's fault. And I've seen this a lot. But I don't know. For me, I've always been able to humble myself and be like, yo, I'm not where I want to be, not because this man didn't do enough for me. He did everything. He did completely enough. He like took me on world tours, put me in front of all types of people that I could network with, right? And great things have come from that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hella blessed, you know what I'm saying? And will continue to be so because of things that he did. So I don't know how much fault it is of his if I fail at anything. You know what I'm saying? Does this make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
it's just interesting because like I've had like Juan's on, which is like the perfect example of that. Like I think even Juan admits he kind of fumbled the bag. Huge. So
I don't know, but
Juan's, and then Ray Dalton. I feel like Ray Dalton's been able to make a career for himself. But like it's just interesting. But then you see like there's a conspiracy with the people that Macklemore works with. Like people are like, the reason why Travis Thompson has made it is because he's almost white and Macklemore's white. So he passed.
He's
white.
almost white.
Yeah, so it worked. Versus when you have a Ray Dalton and Xperience Wands, those guys are all black. I'm like, what? But it's a thing you hear.
That's a little crazy.
It's a thing you actually hear. Like people are genuinely like, if Mackmore's working with you and you're white, you have a better opportunity of getting a bigger platform.
Yeah, well, I think it's more about like who's bumping a Ray Dalton album,
right?
Or who? I think it's way more about that than it is like Macklemore ain't do nothing for you. Like, you're performing in front of. By the time tour is over, you've just performed in front of 1 million people. So it's like, what's the problem? You know what I'm saying? It's like what else do you need somebody else to do for you at that point? And I get it. Like, there's opportunities that can be opened. But it's like, what are you going to do with your opportunity? You know what I'm saying? Like, I also know that with the music that I want to make, my baby making music, Macklemore's demographic at his show ain't the best demographic for me to do baby making music. So I don't. I had, when I was performing with him, I had songs like Not Today, which were kind of like anthemic and more of like stadium, geared toward, party and just being able to like, I just wanted to crowd surf really.
Yeah.
And so it's what it comes down to is like being able to make a good song that everybody likes. If you can't expect for Macklemore's fan base to just become your fan base because you went on tour with them, or
Right.
you know what I'm saying? They're not rocking with everybody like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's a very what's the word? Eclectic audience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all over the place. So
Damn, I appreciate the answer. That was a solid answer.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to like disrespect nobody or none of that. But I mean, I hear it all the time. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And like, Wands is the homie. You know what I'm saying?
I love ones too.
But there is in the Macklemore audience, there is, you know, anywhere from 8 years old to like 30 something people in the audience. On top of that, there's like parents, right? So the real question is, Wands, show me a song that you have that somebody between 8 and 21 is like gonna bump.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then if you have a hit and then nothing happens for you, then you might have an argument. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I figured that out was because I'd never had a huge following until I made a song that was produced by Ryan Lewis, and the hook was super catchy. And so I made it to after the point where I got to the point in tour where after every time I'm ending this song, the crowd would be singing it.
Right.
Right. So now to this day, this is the number one. It's the most streamed song I have because I was like, oh, I figured out a little catchy little formula that people will want to hear a song over and over again. And that was the glimpse that I had of that's how you do it. That's you get one of those and then you ride the momentum.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it the right way, like if one of those things fails, the whole thing fails, and then you end up saying Macklemore should have put me on. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Versus like Travis is the perfect example because number one, he's younger than everybody whose name you just mentioned. Like Wands is like, I don't know, but
60,
he's up there. He's 60 something. What are we talking about the same demographic for? You're 60 something. With Travis is young. He's in that generation. His songs are fire. The production is fire. It's super catchy. He's also adding the formula of singing and rapping. His cadences are crazy. That's going to be successful. It's hella marketable. He got the opportunity to go on tour. Hella people rocked with him that were Macklemore fans because it's that age bracket. You know what I'm saying? There's so many variables that go into it. And he rode the wave at the right time and went beyond Seattle, which is also the key. It's like you got to love your home, but you also got to leave your home and go get loved somewhere else. Because then when you come home, they really going to love you at home, right? So that's my 2 cents on it. I didn't mean to rant, but I hear this a lot.
That was honestly that was a question I really wanted to ask you. I think that was a perfect answer.
Thank you.
Do you think Seattle? I think another thing that I've been going into other genres like comedy, bands, pop. So hip hop's not the main genre I interview anymore, but with that, because where I started, a lot of my friends are hip hop artists, and I feel like I'm trying to. Do you feel like Seattle is even really a hip hop city? Because I have friends who have been making music for so long, and they still don't see any like success from it, even if they're amazing artists, because they're hip hop. I feel like it might be the demographics not here, or
Seattle is definitely a hip hop city. Like
the fan base, really.
I just mean as far as like hip hop heads, like real fans of the culture that always have been. Like when Mac and me were doing shows together, like way before Thrift Shop or any of that.
Yeah.
That period of time in Seattle and the hip hop shows that were happening and the ciphers that were going on in front of the venues and the freestyles before and after the show, where it just felt like the scene never stopped. I think that genre and that group of people just got older, and they still exist here in Seattle, but it's like they're not trying to go out to shows because shows are crazy and filled with young kids that are fighting and doing crazy shit on lean. I don't know what old people think. I'm not old. But it's it's definitely a different scene now. But Seattle has always been more than one thing. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of grunge. There's also crazy jazz scene here. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I'm going to Jazz Alley for the first time early January. I'm so excited.
Yeah, Jazz Alley is fire. You know, there's also a crazy Latin music scene here a lot of people don't know about. You know what I'm saying? So Seattle is a lot of things. And yeah, it's so you can't really say it is a hip hop town and it's not a hip hop town. It's like it's just a mix of all type of music, which is what hip hop is essentially. So I guess to me it is a hip hop town because I remember how it was, and now it's just a new face, and it's just a younger group who have come in. Hip hop is different; it's evolved or devolved to some.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is.
I guess people just don't know how to find their audience in Seattle. Then maybe they don't know how to market the right way. That's probably one of the bigger things.
That's true too.
Because when you said there's older people, like when I look at my demographics, even. Because I've done so much hip hop, I actually have like a pretty older fan base. So maybe that is a thing I should take into account if I want to throw shows. Especially if I want to do like a theater thing where I'm already wanting people to sit down. Maybe people with back yeah, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
you know, but like taking that into consideration is actually like if you're someone who's doing like actual like hip hop, maybe do market to like older.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's still a younger generation
who likes it.
Who likes it, right? I mean, I think J. Cole has helped with that. He's helped translate what the underground hip hop conscious so-called scene was and how that could become successful in the mainstream but he still like has some pop elements to it. But essentially it's hip hop, right? It's what we really feel hip hop is. So yeah, I mean, the older group of people, 30 and up, maybe even 28 and up, that's definitely where, you know, they want to hear what reminds them.
And they're the ones who could actually afford to go to shows probably too.
Well, we'll see. Well, there's a difference because, like at Macklemore shows, right? There's all these kids. They don't got jobs, but they buying $100 worth of merch.
Yeah.
With their parents are bringing them to the shows, and their parents are buying them the merch. Older people got more bills, so it's like they're very picky with what you know what I'm saying with the merch. But
it's a fucking thing. It's marketing, man. That's craziness.
It's crazy.
So as an artist, how did you even get to a point where you could invest into like a comedy club? Because I think a lot of successful artists that I've seen have a lot of investments. So that's what I try to explain to my friends as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about making smart moves with your money. If you make some money, I made a little bit of money, and I didn't go out and buy like a crazy whip and, you know, hella chains and stuff. I got a couple, got some rings, but yeah, I always knew that it's like as soon as I get some money, do something to flip it, like do something that's so you'll have something to fall back on. And so I was just always keeping my eye open for an opportunity. I've lost, you know what I'm saying? I've lost some on some other ideas I had, but you know, it happens. And so, yeah, investing is very important. And so what I did was, you know, even with my music, like I don't, you know, who knows? Like I know my solo stuff isn't like the most popular stuff ever, but
I enjoy it if that means anything.
Well, it does. It means a lot. And so, but the money that I do make for, like, let's say I write a hook for one of Macklemore's songs that goes platinum, I make some money off of that. the money I make from that goes into me bettering my solo stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care if my solo stuff does anything. I don't care if it gets popular or, you know what I'm saying? Of course, it would be nice, right? You know what I'm saying? And I still have a manager. I still give money to a publicist. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing what I can do to make it popular. But I know that by me being myself and like doing a certain style of music, that there's gonna be a certain style of people that fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? So so I'm never like trying to force myself to make some type of hit that's gonna make it on the radio. Like I just can't do that. I can do it for others. You know what I'm saying? I could be like, all right, let me come up with a hook for you and Kesha or whatever. I could do that. Like I can write songs for women. I could write songs for men. You know what I'm saying? Like I can write country songs if I needed to.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like me being myself and making my music, like it doesn't need to be popular at all. Like I just want it to be good, and I want people to, you know, be honest with me about it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You seem like a well-rounded guy.
You know, I'm all right. I got some jagged edges.
Yeah.
But I'm like an oval.
Okay.
With a couple. I'm like an oval with elbows.
Hey, that's pretty cool though. Oval with that's like a cool shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Well, is there any advice or anything else you want to cover before we get up and out of here?
Oh man, I feel like I've been talking a lot. I feel like I've been talking hella.
Dude, you know what I like about podcasts though, real quick?
Yeah.
I think podcasts are like the perfect like time capsule. So
it is.
Some people feel like, oh shit, I talk too much. I'm like, no, it's like you're putting your thoughts out there for people to digest, and if you want to look back on it too, you can be like, that's how I thought. Do I still feel this way? Maybe looking at this a year down the road, or, you know, I enjoy podcasts.
That's a good way to think it. And I will say this, I've done a few podcasts.
Yeah.
Even with the great Nate Jackson.
Hell yeah.
But I will say that this is one of my favorite podcasts I've done.
Damn,
I don't think I've ever felt this open.
There we go. You're part of the community now, man.
Man, I hope I blow up.
Yeah. Dude, we got you. Dude, we got some cool stuff coming. Dude, I just had an hour-long meeting with such a cool, like, I'm doing some dope stuff. So
You're excited.
I'm excited for the stuff we can do down the road.
Oh, man.
Any final advice for up-and-coming artists, creators, influencers?
You know, always be yourself. Sounds cliche, but the more and more I do this thing, the more and more I'm realizing how important that is. And, you know, sharpen your sword is what I say. Work on your craft. Never think like I'm the greatest. Never think like I made it or any of that. Always get better, even if you think you're the best. Because you're not. There's always somebody that's going to come up behind you, slap you in the back of the head, hit you in the behind your knee part and make you walk weird for 2 seconds.
Damn.
You always got to be ready. Kung Fu. That's Kung Fu.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't know that I am a master of Kung Fu. And a lot of people don't know this. And so my last tip would be for you to be a master of Kung Fu. And that's...
Hoya. Oh.
Are we going to freestyle?
Ooh, I can hook you up. Yeah, I got some beats for you.
I don't know. It's been so long.
I got some beats for you. We're good.
Do you going to freestyle?
I can't freestyle, but I'm happy. I'm excited that you actually want it.
We'll see. And then if it's good, we'll keep it. If it's not, it's like we're getting out of there.
There we go.
I sound like Cosby when I get nervous.
Moving Putin popping. This is the NAST podcast with
XP.
And we did it. Oh, actually, what's the easiest way to reach you, my guy?
Oh, Xperience XP or at Xperience XP. Don't put an E at the beginning of Xperience. It's just Xperience and then XP. And that's like my Instagram and Facebook, and my website is xpmusic.rocks.
This guy's a Wikipedia too, so this guy's a legend.
Well, I don't know who did that, and that is weird, by the way.
Illuminati.
It's some dude who thinks he knows me, and I'm like, bro, where are you getting all this info from? It's weird to me, but it does exist. Some of it is false. A lot of it is false, but whatever.
It says you have 10 kids on there. from all the baby making music.
I got 10 kids to feed, man.
Shoot, stream my music.
Stream it. Cash at me for my babies.
$Xperience.
Oh my God.